Superman Unlimited issue 12. Dan Slott writing with Lucas Meyer on the art. So, last issue ended with John as Tomorrow Man finding, or not finding, but like young John was pulled out of the volcano and given to him to look after, basically. Mm-hmm. And that's where we get to. We actually start with a little prelude where we're in the Emerald City, you know, the Kryptonite City,
El Caldero.
Yeah, and basically the ruler is like giving big speeches and like, oh, we hope Kal-El will return, blah blah blah. And Vicky Vale's there, showing up as she does, and is like, hey, with Superman gone, isn't like most of your Kryptonite sales all for villains who want to hurt Superman? Isn't this something that's a problem? And he's like, no, that's not true at all. We're booming. In fact, we've got more Kryptonian technology that we've developed since, because we know obviously they were looking into the Power Stones and things like that. Mm-hmm. And he introduces the Crypto Knights of El Caldero, which is a bunch of purple and yellow armored looking dudes and ladies. So,
yep. Not sinister at all.
Yeah.
Not whatsoever.
So yeah, that's set up for later. I like just checking in with that. And then we also see that there's like shady experiments going on with kryptonite, like in Metropolis. There's people like injecting monkeys with kryptonite formula and shit.
So that was a thing that he said too. He's like, yeah, but it's not just anti-Kryptonian stuff. They're using it as fuel, and they're seeing what it does to the human body. And you know, who knows what miraculous use someone will come of it. And then we smash cut to some lab in Metropolis. They're injecting monkeys and apes with it. And we're like, oh, of course, humanity sucks. We're going to find this thing that can do wondrous things, and we're going to do the worst things with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who knows what they've done. I mean, maybe it'll be like, it may not just be raw kryptonite. It might be like kryptonite, you know, concocted with whatever. But regardless, that sets up that, which I think is a pretty cool setup, because I was like, oh, I'm intrigued by this idea of people doing nefarious things. If kryptonite's this abundant thing they can get their hands on now, and what else can they do with it? So that's all cool setup. I really like those opening two scenes. But then it gets into kind of the main thing of the issue, which is old John's got the outfit on where he's saying he's Tomorrow Man, so he doesn't, you know, tell young John who he is. And young John's freaking out, and people see him and go, hey, it's Superboy, you're back. And he kind of screams, and like it kind of sends everyone flying. And Tomorrow Man, for lack of a better name, flies around and grabs them all, and he's kind of scared, he's kind of klutzy, knocks over the water tower by accident, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. The back half of this, though, once he actually takes him to Lois, right, and Lois sees young John, it's a whole thing, and John remembers, oh, back when my dad, Superman, was trying to stop that meteor kryptonite coming to Earth, you know, he spoke to me, and he talked about how, you know, you will guide them, you know, John L. or whatever, right? He basically quoted the Superman movie. But he also said that his biggest regret was him and Lois never getting to see him grow up, that part was robbed. So it's like he's giving his mum that back by saying, hey, here's John. That's all fine. And I also love that Batman and Damian happen to be there, because they're giving Lois an update on their search for Superman, which is good, because it means we get to see Damian see young John and react to that, and that's kind of cool. I have one critique though here that I do not understand, and maybe it'll be better explained next issue. I get why he's lying to himself. I get why he's lying to young John, but I cannot for the life of me figure out why he doesn't say to Lois, hey, can we go in the other room for a second? Mom, it's me. It's me, like, that you know from present day. Don't worry about it. It's me. Why?
I took it as Back to the Future rules, right?
But they're not in the past.
But instead of you can't run into your... Right. Let me get there.
Okay.
But so, because of that, he wants to give Lois that chance. And if he shows that this is him dropping off a young version of him, right? Don't you think Lois is going to have all these questions?
Well, she's have all those questions anyway.
What the hell? Yeah. But like, why are you dropping off? Where did you get this younger version of you? Right?
But that's a question anyway.
Shouldn't. Right. And so that's why I think that's what he's trying to do, because he's trying to live up to his dad's, right? I wish that we could have raised you and seen all those moments. Right? So I don't think he's trying to take that away. I think John is trying to do the noble thing and I think he's just making things worse.
That doesn't make any sense to me. She's still, she's not erased her memory of him being an adult. She still knows he was an adult. She still remembers that. So there is absolutely zero reason that I can fathom why he wouldn't just take her aside and say, "Hey, Mom, it's me, but my younger self is there too. Fourth dimensional stuff happened. I ended up with him out of the volcano. So, hey, can you look after him? Because it's kind of weird me doing it." There you go, done. And he's also lying to Batman and Damian, and Batman's like trying to like tell who he is with his voice, and I'm just kind of like, why is this something he is hiding from them? They would understand. They've seen weirder shit.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Batman should have been the one to suss it out a little bit, and maybe he should have explained things to Batman. You know, right? So that we could just have something in the clear. But I get the Lois thing. I get him not wanting. He's trying to do what he thinks is right, regardless, right? Logic be damned with it. He's operating off of pure emotional.
Yeah, but why is it right? That's the thing I don't understand. Why is it in any way right, even from his perspective? I don't understand. Wouldn't she just be worrying about her adult version of her son? Like, would she be thinking, oh, he's reverted to his younger self? He's somehow went back in time? Well, like these would be questions that she should be having.
Especially Lois Lane.
Yeah, I could not fathom this choice to have him keep it a secret from the adults in the room. Like, it really should just be John that he's keeping a secret from. Here's
my thing, because of where the story goes, I don't think I like this. I don't think I like them retreading young John in now as this person out of time, you know? It's weird, and I thought we were past it, right?
Well, hold on. He's not out of time, technically. He should still be this age right now, so technically he's not out of time, in a sense.
I know, this is where the timey-wimey's getting. But he is, though, because he aged because of relativity, right? That was in the Bendis stuff.
Sure, but this is what I want to ask, though, right? Did you not think when Bendis aged up John that was a mistake at the time?
Yes.
Right. So this is them letting us have him back as young John. Now, admittedly, it leaves old John in kind of a weird place. Now, I don't know what we do with that.
Right.
But I don't hate having young John back, because it feels like we were robbed of a lot of the development that could have happened with him being the same age as Damian for some more time.
Right. And that's because we enjoy the interplay between young John and Damian and that whole Super Sons.
Oh, sure, but that's just one example. I'm not saying that's the only reason. I'm saying like all of the
I know.
You know, any development he could have with any other heroes around that age, you know, join a Teen Titans team, whatever it would be, right?
And just from my perspective now, we've had all of these stories with older John, and I've liked a lot of those, right? So while I felt robbed of the younger John, what we got out of it, you know, they took something that could have been they could have walked it back almost immediately, and creators like Tom Taylor took it and did something interesting, and he kind of became his own, right? In the pages of Superman, and then what was that book where he got the lightning powers?
Was that Son of Kal-El? Or
yeah, maybe that's what that was, right? And through those, right, he got the whole relationship with I'm forgetting the character's name right now, and we did all these cool things with him. And this is just some weird where I feel like they're trying to have the cake and eat it too, but they're already telling us right now that something's afoot. So they're not doing that. It's super wonky. Like, I can't get a feel for it.
I mean, they're definitely trying to have their cake and eat it too. I'm not really disputing that, but I don't know. It feels like there was a lot of stuff left on the table by aging him up the way they did, where it was all of a sudden he's like close to Dick Grayson's age instead of Damian's age, and that's kind of weird. So having him be back here, right, and, you know, as much as it's funny that even Superman's son is older than Kara, I mean, I don't think he actually is, but he was close to her age at the very least. I kind of get the idea of like, oh, let's right that wrong a little bit, and then let's go back. Now, if he's going to stick around to some extent, which I don't know how that works, because what happens to old John if he never goes back to the volcano and so on, but I do think old John has less of a place, weirdly, than young John does, and I say that because old John's existence is basically meant, and this is weird that I'm sticking up for this character, but it's basically meant that Connor Kent has had absolutely nowhere to be for the last like few years, because we already have...
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, we have this young adult Superman who is already there, and he's inherently more important than Connor Kent because he's Superman's son, and that makes sense. Right. Whereas young John can kind of exist in that kind of, you know, young teen demo, and Connor can be the older demo.
I think I've just gotten attached to older John at this point. You know, because of the stories that I've read and I've enjoyed, and I feel he does have a place in, you know, in the same way with the Flashes, where there's all these different Flashes, I've kind of just accepted there's a bunch of different supers running around, you know, and then I feel like when they brought in, and the only people that have really worked on those two, on the twins, is Philip Kennedy Johnson, who brought them in, right? But that felt like that was trying to fill that void of the younger John, you know, being aged up and whatnot. And I like those characters too, you know, so I just feel like it's one of those things where more is more. And as long as the story is justified, you know, we're okay. But like Pete just brought up, it leaves Connor Kent in this weird mid, like, gray area, which as a Connor Kent fan sucks. But, you know, I don't know. I liked him when he was running around with Kyle and Odyssey. So I feel like he could work there. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's super weird, and I don't know. It leaves me with this feeling that I don't know how to feel, which is weird.
The funny thing is I actually still quite enjoyed this issue. As much as I went on a rant about why is he not telling Lois and Batman, I still feel weird about that. Like, I don't understand that choice. But I do like the idea of, like, exploring Lois getting her young son back and doing something with that. I do also like, I actually laughed out loud at the ending, which is, you know, because there's a moment when Damian and Batman are leaving where Damian's looking back at him with a side eye, and it's really intense. And then the last page of the issue is Damian talking to Batman saying, "I'm making kryptonite batarangs," and Batman's like, "Why, son? Why are you making kryptonite batarangs?" And he's like, "That's Superboy. I don't trust them." And then Batman just goes, "Good boy," which I thought was really funny.
Be a toxic friend. That's what us Waynes do.
I mean, the idea is that, he's not who he says he is. He's actually something else, which,
right, well,
to be honest, like, there's a really strong chance that this isn't actually him, right? There's a chance that this is some imp or something pretending to be him. Because after all, remember who was the other Clark Kent back at the start of Rebirth? Remember who that turned out to be? That was Mixie. So, you know.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because even Crypto is not trusting this young John. And movies have taught me anything that when a dog does that, believe the dog, you know? So, but like, we have this really long discussion about all of that, but we're glossing over my favorite part of the issue, Pete, which I'm sure you didn't enjoy nearly as much as me.
The Bebo Beppo stuff?
Yeah. So this ape gets out and everyone's worrying, and they're like, well,
monkey.
We have until sunrise. Well, was he? Hold on.
He had a tail, so monkey.
Did he have a tail?
Yeah.
Because he looked like a chimp.
He did early on, but he had a tail when he was talking to Bibble.
Okay. I see it now. It's even on that first one. So yeah, so the monkey gets out, and all the scientists are worried. We're like, well, we have until sunup, because once the yellow rays hit this guy, seems like he's going to have Kryptonian powers. You don't want an ape with Kryptonian powers running around, so Bibbo is closing up the Ace of Clubs, and this monkey is going through the dumpster, and
it's so funny to me
leftover foods
that you're making this mistake, because the more common mistake is that people call apes monkeys, and you have to correct them. So it's really funny.
I always thought it was Beppo the super, because it was always Beppo the super ape, not the super monkey. So that's why I'm getting tripped up on.
I don't know. He's got a tail. I don't want to tell you, Matt. He's got a tail.
Yeah. No, Pete, you're 100% correct. Anyways, they do this whole back and forth of Bibbo, Beppo, and I just thought that the silliness of it was there, and I'm never gonna be mad at seeing Bibbo. That's one of my dudes. He's Superman biggest fan. I relate. And yeah, and it seems like they struck up a friendship. He feeds him the leftover what are they? Pierogies and gives him some soda, which you don't want to do with a monkey, you know, let alone a superpowered one. You know, that's not part of their diet, but here we are. So we had that brief little interlude, and it seems like we're working our way to El Caldero giving us Beppo.
Yeah. No, a lot of interesting stuff in this issue. That was easily the most forgettable scene in the entire book.
I thought you would feel that way. It's the thing that I remembered the most outside of the, you know, the Lois and John stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I know. Like, I actually still quite enjoyed the issue, and I thought like Lois being reunited with young John's interesting. I think it's potentially cool where they might go with this. I think if it is just really young John, I think it may be quite cool when Damien finally accepts that. I think there could be a nice nice moment there. And if it isn't actually young John and it is someone in disguise, then that could be something as well. You know, I don't know. I don't know how to feel. The funny thing is, though, is probably the part that feels the weirdest to me is just old John and his Tomorrow Man like get up. That's the part to me that feels like really weird. The young John stuff feels like, yeah, this feels like a chance to explore things that we never got to do before. So we could see. But I like the ongoing world stuff with the monkey experimentation and the El Caldero stuff. Like that stuff, I like them ticking that along. So yeah. So not a bad issue, but just that one giant question mark was like, as soon as he made that thing where he's like, oh, I need to disguise my voice, and my prize-winning mother and Batman, the world's greatest detective, I have to trick them. And I'm like, why do you have to trick them? For what purpose are you tricking them? I don't understand it. You're the one who's supposed to be here, not him. Anyway.
Yeah.
And you know it's present day because Batman's literally talking to Lois about, oh yeah, we've been looking for Superman after this KO tournament. He's turned up missing. I can't find him.
Yeah.
He's a big super far in the wind. I knew that'd pop you. All right, man. We give it a unlimited. The Superman Unlimited issue 12.
I'm gonna give this a straight 7. Also, Lucas Meyer art really good. Let's put that out there as well. Yeah,
Lucas Meyer art is typically very good. I do find the Tomorrow Man outfit a bit over designed, but that's not necessarily on his art.
It feels like a Dan Mora over design. Right?
Yeah,
I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 7.5 because I actually like most of the things in it. I just don't understand why he's not wanting to tell Lois and Batman. It's really weird. Because if anything, I feel like he should tell them so he can be like, hey, you can't tell him about his future, right? You have to kind of keep like what happens with me a secret. But they don't necessarily know not to tell him that. Yeah. So that could be weird. Anyway. It's kind of like whenever they say, oh, I can't tell someone I love that I'm really a superhero because it'll put them in danger. And I'm like, well, it sounds like they would actually be safer if they knew so they could know to take precautions because they know you're a superhero. Anyway.
I feel that only matters when you're Spider-Man. Because he's lost like legitimate people. Because people finding out who he is.
Yeah, but people kept going after Mary Jane even when she didn't know who he was. It kept happening anyway.
True.
If anything, he's the prime example of like, yeah, she should just know, so she knows to like put like 1,000,000 locks in like a bunker in her house.
Yeah, it's because of his selfishness and him thinking like, oh yeah, no, I'm far too important. They'll challenge. I got to keep it a secret.